Hello, this is Akiko Sudano at stampinginthemeadows.com in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. And welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I'm on Saturday instead of my normal Sunday, but thank you anyway. And I'm going to be making a card, an Easter card with the pretty Daffodil Daydream stamp set. This is in the new mini catalog, and you've got so many pretty stamped daffodils, and then you also have some die cut daffodils. And I'm using the die cut daffodil for my Easter card today, and this is my card. And hi, Amy. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you. And I'm using the die cut. Hi, Karen. Thanks for joining me. And I'm using the die cut daffodils. And the one of the things I wanted to say also is that this is the bundle that's featured in our tutorials for the month. So if you make a purchase from me, you'll also get a tutorial with a lot more cards with this bundle. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put together my card base, and then we'll start to put together the daffodils. So I have a basic white thick card base right here, and I have a panel that's cut with the Hive 3D embossing folder. And this is one of the embossing folders that shrinks up a little bit. So I cut this instead of cutting this by 5¼ inches long, I cut this by 4 inches wide by 5�3/8 inch long, and then after I embossed it, I went ahead and I trimmed it back down so that it would be 5¼ inches afterwards, and that way I got it to be the perfect size that I needed for my card front. So I'm going to adhere this directly to my thick basic white card base, and what I wanted to do is just give myself a little bit of texture for the background instead of just being plain white. So I'm going to adhere this down and press this really good. Hi, Karen. Thank you so much for joining me today. There we go. And then I have 2 strips of the hand pen designer series paper. I have one of the strips this is such beautiful designer series paper, and I wanted something that was a little bit that's a little bit bright and springy. So I decided to use the hand pen designer series paper, and I've cut a 1/2 inch by 5 inch strip here, and I'm going to just adhere this down to my embossed panel. So I bet it's not snowing down south, but we got surprised today with a little bit of a snowstorm, and it's kind of taken a breather, but I think it's going to start up again. And so all of my daffodils are probably covered, but it's only like about an inch of snow or so. So this is a 1/2 inch by 5 inch, and I've just adhered it to the embossed panel here. And then I've got another. This is such pretty paper, and yet I just wanted a little bit of the Daffodil Delight background. Oh, gusty winds in North Carolina. Oh, an 85 in Florida, Karen. That's beautiful. So we should all go to Florida. And so I'm going to adhere. I'm going to just snug this up right next to the paper. If you overlap it, I think that's fine, but I'm just going to snug it right up next to it. Push it right next to it, and then do this. Okay, so this is my basic panel, my background for my card. Now let's go ahead and start assembling the daffodil pieces. And I've already die cut everything so that we can just put it together. Now, this is kind of complex, so I thought I would go ahead and put everything together in such a manner so that you can kind of see that this and this die cut, and I think it's pretty much, you can see that's this one, and then this is this one. So these two die cuts will glue together and make this one. And then for this daffodil, you need two of these and then one of these. And for this, I used these two. So for each of the different pieces, you've got a basic background and then a detailed die cut that give you the shading. And so for my flowers today, I've just used both of them with Daffodil Delight. I think you can mix up the colors with different colors of cardstock, or also I've seen people where you sponge different color inks to add a little bit more texture and a little bit more color. But I just chose to keep it simple and just use everything with Daffodil Delight, which makes sense because it's daffodils. So for this top flower, I have two of these. So, and then one of these. Then for this daffodil, I have one of these and one of these, and then one of these. And then for the bud, the little bud, it's just two pieces, and so it's just one of these. So let's go ahead and let's start with this first daffodil. I have this one already, so I'm going to take these two pieces and just adhere them. So you just adhere the detailed die cut to the solid die cut, and I'm just going to use liquid glue. I think you could use anything. And the key for lining this one up is that if you'll see that this one's got kind of a spiky point on this one right here, you want to line that one on top of this one. This petal has a spiky point. This is, I hear what you're saying, Karen, and I think the stamped daffodils are so pretty, and so but I decided, well, let me go ahead and venture out and figure this thing out. And so I put together a card here with everything so that I could just kind of see how it goes together, because it is intimidating. And I think that some of them, they look a little bit wonky, but let's go ahead and see where we go. So with these two, and then I just make two of these. So I've got 4 die cuts here, and I'm going to just crisscross them like this so that I've got like a 6 petal thing with the petals so that they're not overlapping. And I'm going to just use another dab of glue in the center here and put that on. Because I think the thing too is you want to be careful that it doesn't look wonky and awkward, but I think that's going to be fine. And then, oops, I just always seem to get glue all over myself here with everything. And then we need to use one of these guys to put it in the center. And I think that these guys can just go in the center. Now, I think that looks okay. It doesn't look too cockeyed. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere this guy down with liquid glue as well. And I think that you could use also glue dots for this, but I'm going to just use the liquid glue. And I think that looks okay. So this one, on this guy, he's going straight up, but on this guy, he's kind of looking a little off to the side here. So I'm going to leave it like this. Now for these are wonderful dies. They're a bit intimidating, but they are wonderful dies. So you've got stem dies that, and you've got stems that are pointing in both directions, and you've got leaf dies, and you've got leaves that go this way and leaves that go this way. So they're pretty versatile from that perspective. And I have, and this one, I cut off the top of it because I'm going to use this stem, and this was one of the ones that went off that way. And I'm going to just adhere this to the back of this flower, kind of, so that I'm going to try to line it up so that the stem kind of goes to the center of the bottom of that petal right there. And I'm going to just adhere this also with liquid glue. Just glue them up there. And let's see here, like this. Oh, thank you, Karen. Yeah, I think sometimes seeing it, and I've will help. Okay, so that's my one flower. Okay, so the next one it has these two dies. Now with this one, it's a little bit funky because this little, I think this piece right here feels like it should go with that one, but it goes with the bottom petal. So again, I just line up with, add liquid glue to the back, and I'm just doing it to the center. I'm not putting it all over everything, and then just lining these guys up and trying to just keep them straight. I think that it's forgiving enough too, so that it will be okay if they're not straight. Now this one, it was a little bit tricky in terms of how it goes, because for this one I just lined up the kind of lined up the centers with this way. It looks right, but if you do it the opposite way, you're going to see that you're way off. Things don't line up. So definitely use this the center piece to line this one up. And that's way too much glue. There we go. And just line it up there and stick it down. Yeah. So this one is a little bit weird because it's got a pointy end right here, but it's the die, the top die, the detailed die goes kind of up. Yeah, I understand that, Karen. Yeah, but it's really pretty. Now, the other thing about this is that this will go in the back of this one. And you just want to add more glue and just put it to the center so that it kind of looks like this. I'll just add glue right here. And then just kind of figure it in the center here. Like that. I don't know if it matters how wonky that is. And then this guy is really easy. Just add just little dots of little glue, and then these pieces are pretty wide, so that you don't end up making too much of a glue mess, and you can be pretty easy with that. So just turn this over, and it just fits right on top. And so it's just put it on top and smush it around like that. Okay, now for this one, this little short stubby piece, that goes on the bottom. So this kind of goes, it will cover up the top one like that. And then if you cock it a little bit like that, that looks okay. And so that's the way most of them have, that I've seen. That's the way most of them go. But I have seen some that do it this way, and that doesn't really look too bad either. I think there are some daffodils that have a skinnier things like that, but I think I'm going to use it this way, and most of them are set up this way, and so it's like it's fat and short. That sounds like me. because this is it's leaning towards it's showing towards you. It's coming towards you. So then you kind of do it like this and say, "Oh yeah, that looks okay." Okay. So then let me find a stem. And for this one, I'm going to put him at the bottom. So I have a short stem. This is the same stem. And this one, you can see how the top is nicely cut like that. But I'm going to just add the glue right here. And I want to put this on kind of so that the stem is coming down like this. Okay. So I've got two of my flowers here, and then the final one is the little bud that's right here. And you've got just the two pieces here. I'll move this off and turn the detail die over and apply the glue to the detail die. And then just put this on right like this. Yeah, it is kind of like a puzzle. So that's why I decided to put everything, lay everything out and show you how it goes together first. And then I'm going to have, since I've got this one going this way, I'm going to go ahead and use this one. And this is like so perfect because you've got this little area right here, and this is where you can put your glue or your glue dot. And I'm just using glue. Everything's sticking, and then just nestle the stem right up into the thing, and it's going to hang over, which that's fine. So there you got your three. I've got my three little flowers. So let's go back to the card front, and first thing before I put any flowers on, I'm going to put on the leaves. Now what I've done is I've already cut some of the stems so that I want to have one stem up like this, one like this, and then this another one down here, but a little bit lower. Now, one of the things that I did with this is I kind of figured out where I wanted them to be placed, and then I went ahead and I took my paper snips and kind of gently cut these on an angle, just like you were going to be cutting flowers from your garden. Just kind of cut it on an angle and then place it down so that you've got it, so that it's not too long and sticking out on the bottom there. And then I'm going to just adhere this on with liquid glue. Just and I think again with these guys you could use glue dots, but I think the liquid glue went just as easy. Start with this guy, kind of on the center here. And I think one of the things that you want to just be careful of is that you don't end up with everything like on top of each other, so that it gets too thick, because you're going to end up getting some overlap and it's going to be thickening up. So I'm going to turn it over and add a little bit of glue. I guess if you remembered also, you could put your adhesive sheets on and adhere these down with adhesive sheets. Go up like this. And then the third one is going to kind of go off this way in this direction. Yeah, our snow has stopped. It's supposed to start up again, but I know where Karen is, 85 degrees is just wonderful. Okay, so then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the top, and I'm going to put this first one kind of in the center and coming down here. But I don't want the bottom to stick out, so I'm going to trim the bottom, just kind of cut it on an angle, and put it up here. And I'm adhering these with liquid glue, and I'm putting the glue kind of just on the 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 um, the bottom layer. I guess what will be the bottom layer of of uh, of the flower, and I thought, well, you could use glue dots on the top, and then just maybe some liquid glue, but that sounded really kind of confusing to me. So I just decided, oh, I'm going to just do everything with liquid glue, and just press it and make sure it's sticking there. It's good. And see, this one, I just leaned this one over just a little bit so that it would be it wouldn't bunch up too much down here. And then this guy I'm going to put here. But you know what I'm going to do? This is I am going to take one of my half dimensionals, and I'm going to stick it behind the top right here, so that this flower will because it's got so much bulk here. I want to make sure that this flower doesn't end up getting too flopping over. So that was one of the things that I noticed on my sample card. So I'm just going to add more glue here and to this set of petals here, and then to the stem. Okay. My dimensionals off. Okay. And then just stick this right here. And then that just kind of sticks up a little bit more, gives it a little bit of dimension, and it's fine. So then the last one is going to be my bud, and I'll put it over here, and I need to trim it about here. So I'm placing it where I'm going to put it, and then using that as a guide to figure out how much I want to trim the bottom off. And maybe I'll just stick it up there like that. You know, I want it to come down a little bit more, so I'm going to trim a little bit more off of here. There we go. And my glue. Come on, just a little bit. There we go. And just stick it on like that. Okay, so I've got 3 flowers. I've seen these die-cut flowers with just 1 or 2 flowers, and they're really beautiful as well. Okay, so I think we're done with the flower arrangement. And then okay, for the label, what I did, and I've already gone ahead and I've pre-made my label. And what I did was I used I stamped the sentiment from the Daffodil Daydream stamp set, because I think that's such a pretty Easter sentiment. I stamped it in garden green ink and on a piece of basic white, and then I cut it out with the TaylorMade tags die. This is the smallest of the angled die, and then I cut another little Daffodil Delight of the reinforcers, and then I used this is the woven garden green ribbon. I don't know if you can see that. And then this is the bumblebee gingham ribbon, and then just some white the white crinkle ribbon. And then I made a bow out of linen thread to secure all of those guys. And I'm going to just pop this on with my little half dimensionals. Karen, I am not jealous. I don't think we're going to get that cold, but that is just awful. And it's funny because we had temperatures in the like 70 degrees this week. It was almost 70. I couldn't believe it. And then now it's like so cold. I guess that's why it's March. So I've got this, and I'm going to just put this on with dimensionals, and then that will help to lift everything above all of the extra stuff that you have from the stems. And I just want to make sure, I just want this to be straight, and I'll leave those on there. And then since I've got the hive, I have to use one of the little bumblebee trinkets, which are just so wonderful, and stick that on with a glue dot. On my card front, and I think we can move this guy up here, and instead of down on the bottom there. Looks a little crowded right in there, but there's plenty of room up here. The butterfly that comes, the die-cut butterfly, is really pretty. That's got 3 pieces to it, but that's really pretty. So that's the card front. Now let's go ahead and let's work on the inside of the card. And I have a basic white panel here. Now for the card that my sample card, I stamped this in smoky slate, but I think that what I want to do for my card today is I want to stamp this in tuxedo black ink. I think that it'll be fine, so I'm going to have, since it's going to go off, I want to have a piece of background paper and ink up my stamp, and then just stamp it on the side. That's good. Cover this up. Can move this away. And then I want to stamp the sentiment in garden green ink. Now this is such a pretty sentiment. May the beauty of Easter fill your heart with hope. This is from the A Wish for Everything stamp set, and I just thought that was perfect for Easter. So I wanted to stamp this in garden green on the inside of my card, just above the tulip, and then we'll color it up. And make sure that it's not upside down. And then this is going to be, let's see here. My phone is in the way. My camera phone is in the way for figuring out where to stamp this, hopefully. That feels like it's a little too high. Right here. Let's try that. There we go. So I think that at this point, everybody can use a little bit of hope. So I thought that was a good sentiment, especially for the Easter season. And then I'm going to just color this daffodil with Stampin' Blends, and I'm going to just color it with the Daffodil Delight for the flower. And just add a little bit of the dark Daffodil Delight, just a little bit more. Oh, I forgot the petals too. blend this up. And then do these when I was a little girl, it's like the centers of the daffodils were always yellow, and then these things were always white. But the daffodils that I have are all yellow all around. So I just make this yellow, and I think they're pretty. And it's like after winter, you are just so happy to see all the daffodils. So and mine are just budding, and I'm hoping that I'm sure everything's going to be fine with in spite of the snow. Everything's going to be fine because they're pretty hardy. Okay. So just a little simple. Now, since I used garden green, and I had done this before, if I use light shaded spruce and light mossy meadow, it kind of approaches garden green. And so I tried that in the past, and that seemed to be okay. So I'm going to do that here. And hope that they have a garden green blend in the new catalog. That would be just wonderful, because I think that's the color that I'm really looking for. And then just give it a little bit of mossy meadow, and it kind of tames the blue in the shaded spruce a little bit. There, it's a little bit like garden green. So let's see here. All right, and then we'll add another strip of this pretty designer series paper from the hand-penned DSP pack to the bottom. Add my glue here. I think that the green one would have been pretty too. And then trim the extra, a little bit of extra here. Just trim it back, trim it off. And then just adhere the panel to the inside of my card. I have to find my card. I'm going to use Stampin' Seal with that. The cap looks like it's Bermuda Bay. It's, yeah, it's the light shaded spruce. Thank you. It's always hard to know what the colors are with the different light and everything. So, okay, so here's the outside of my card, and then put the inside in, and I think that looks better with the tuxedo black flower instead of the smoky slate flower. So there we go. That's the inside of my card, and then That's the outside of my card. And so that's my card for today. Thank you so much for joining me today. And next week I'll be back on Sunday afternoon at my regular time. And thank you so much for joining me. Everybody have a great week. Bye-bye.